Alright, hello. Today's video is gonna be maybe a little bit longer, shorter. I will just see how it's gonna be. I hope it's gonna be as short as possible, and I will skip a lot of parts which are tedious and repetitive. So I will go over most of the things just once and then do them later on by myself. But the idea is to segment this video into parts. I will make time frames in the description with specific things which you might be interested in. So of course I will get my Arma, and before I even start, I actually like to make a presets which are just base mods. I will display them. Those are the base add-ons which I very much like to have in my scenarios, and they just go from the basic CBA, Ace, Terrains, Enhanced Movement, Zeus Enhance. Special Core is for animations, TBD Motors, Advanced Rappelling, Towing, Brush Clearing, Enhanced Movement, Rework. That's because the old one is, sketchy. Soundscape, Group Adult Trenches, Splendid Smoke, which is better for AI control as well because it covers the vision of AI. The vanilla smokes are quite bad actually. Unflipping, Zeus Additions, Crow Zeus, 3D Enhance, CH View Distance, Cat Medical, Better Inventory, Web Night Flashlights, Animate Radio, Task Force of course, TFR. Some people like to use the other one, Acre. I like to use Task Force especially because the operations which I make tend to have over 50 players, and Acre sometimes, if you have larger amount of players, does have some bugs which have not been addressed by the adder maker, unfortunately. So then I have some other things: advanced link loading, urban rappelling, improved Zeus monitor, and backpack on chest as the last mod. So this is basically the base. Technically, I do not necessarily need a cop terrain score, but I very much like the assets that are inside this mod. So that's actually like one of the main size mods. Otherwise, all of the other ones are like few megabytes at best. I think Ace is one of the bigger ones here, but this is the actual main size mod. So you could technically get rid of it and then start making your base mod, but that's just my personal preference. So once I have the base mods finished and the vanilla, or not the vanilla, the add-on settings, which I will get to later on, I can start creating a mission or a scenario which I have in mind. This mission is gonna be joint operation Paz Eterna. So I of course host joint operations for those who see my channel before, and this is gonna be inspired by 1997 BOPE operations inside Brazil. Also, more specifically in Rio de Janeiro. So the players are going to be operating as the Brazilian SWAT slash counter-terrorist slash anti-favela group, and they will be clearing objectives as police, basically, and also other police forces because they're going to be corrupted, but that's later on. So that's my general mod pack. I have an idea of mission which I wish to make because of course, I get inspired by real life events or even fantasy events, sci-fi events, whatever comes to my mind or your mind. I just like to mainstream the idea as much as possible, so I don't have to come back to jump back and forward. So I have my mod pack, I have my add-on settings, I have my scenario in mind. Now I search for the additional add-ons. So I go all the way down here and I realize, okay, so I will most likely need uniforms. So BOPE uniforms, okay, I have my faction. Now I need the enemy faction, for which I used unconventional actors because I like the size of it, but I have to use almost all of the RHS, which is quite good actually, because now I can use a lot of assets from all these RHS. The other is 3CBA factions, of course, but 3CBA is quite a large mod as well, and I believe that it's not necessarily needed for this operation because the enemy is not going to be using armored assets. So, next I need the map, which is one of the hardest ones. I just chose Saint George Island because it's the closest to Brazil that I could think of. It has its own favela and quite a big urban area. It is an island, but you know, you are limited by Arma, not necessarily by what you wish to have. Otherwise, you could just make your own map. And then I have one more asset, which is Brazilian Armored Forces, which gives me Brazilian weapons and vests. And lastly, I have a dog and canine companion, which I believed could add a little bit of flair. But that's pretty much it. Very simple mod pack, just few additional add-ons for the specific scenario, map, uniforms, and the hostile forces. People can add more things, but the simpler the better. I would say. So of course I started up, and when it's starting, I will display you the way I like to schedule the ops, which is of course in Excel sheets. A lot of white, I know. And once I see the map as well, and I do some research both just through Google, ChatGPT, and so on, I have will make some kind of in-depth research into history of the actual unit. Of course, I use Wikipedia and other sources, whichever is available, and I cross-address them to see how they operate and what is their structure. The other one, which is pretty good, is if I look quickly here and I look, for example, at Tet Offensive. I do like to use battle order as well, I believe. Yep, so I see the actual. I just have specific links to the actual images. So that's, I think it's battle order. Yep, battle order. So this is a pretty good website. It's not 100% accurate, but it's convenient enough, and it will do for whatever scenario you have to do. So let's say I want to do US Army. I click into US Army, and there's a lot of resources and materials. I can also do graphics and see an actual composition of those troops. Let's go to Russia. Okay, I want to do VDV. You have variations 1998, 1988, 2016 to 18, and this is most likely even, you know, applicable to today's standards. I don't feel like it changed much. Maybe you have a difference for teams, so this is maybe in just airborne squad for assault, so they have machine gun, that there is a possible support squad with some kind of single use AT, and so on. And of course you can make your own variety. So that's how I get inspired to creating these squads, and then of course I have to make some kind of a command structure. So I have my HQ element, which will oversee and actually be the head of the operation. I will be there as a Zeus as well, of course, but I will be there mostly for advising and small things. For the most part, it's going to be actually fully on player-oriented mission. You want to create a mission where you as a Zeus have minimal direct interaction, if possible. That's the golden goal, at least for me. That's the way I see a proper mission for the players. So there's the HQ element, then you have your Alpha 1, there you have the platoon HQ, and most of the squads actually in this scenario are the same. You have the platoon leader who's controlling the other squads and so on. He is on the net, which is 51 for example here, and he's interconnected with the other squads. And the other squads have their own radio. Sometimes I limit the amount of radio, but because I believe this is going to be an urban situation, even though it's 1997 and I don't think every single police member in Boppe had a radio, I still give them a radio just to make sure the operation is going to be smooth and there's going to be a limited amount of fuck-ups. So most of these are same. This is actually a different squad because it's Equipe de Armas, which is in Portuguese. It's weapon team. At least I think so. I'm not Portuguese. I don't speak it. I just translate it so people could get immersed even when they are looking at the sheet, because every little thing counts. At least I think so. So then there's some pilots, sniper teams, which I have actually went a little bit overboard, and I search for the right call signs, and they're mostly calling them atirador, and then specific number, so nullo, duo address and so on. I probably botched the pronunciation, but whatever. Then I have K9 units and my own Zeus team. Later on, this is just additional stuff. So the structure, mission, research, and so on. All of these things are finished. Now for the actual creating of the operation. So, of course, I go to multiplayer, host server, my own local device, just to see how it would work in environment of a local host, because the local host most likely will transfer to the server unless you have a specific settings on the server itself. So I will host it on my own device. I will select the map and I will create a new 3D editor interface. Once I am in the interface, I would say that we go one by one step in the actual creation. Before we even start with setting up the mission and assets and so on, I would like to explain quickly, let's say, the attributes. So let's go one by one. General. You want to have some kind of title for the scenario. So for me, it's gonna be just simple. I need to get the name of the app. It's gonna be Operation Paz Eterna. And I will actually change these characters just to make sure, because sometimes there can be conflicts. Okay, I don't need any pictures. I like to unclick DLC just to make sure, even though there is none, because some servers can automatically switch DLC to something if it's used. So I like to unclick it just to make sure, double check. And then quickly let's go through these things. Here you can disable some specific things for your players. So briefing, debriefing. I mostly will leave it on. You could technically disable the HUD if you would wish to have it more interactable, because ACE gives the option of checking ammunition, for example, and it also gives you an option to see the fire modes on your weapons. So you don't technically need the HUD, but it's probably better, because I can think of a case where the players need to know their stance. If they are slightly crouched or fully crouched, or they just press Ctrl V or S and they need to change it. And the other thing is grenades. So imagine that you wish to throw a smoke for a friendly and you throw a grenade instead because you don't see the hood. So I would probably leave it on. Then let's go into MISC. Here it's up to you. This is independent, which is the green faction. How it will have allegiance. I think for this scenario, I think it's gonna be hostile. Not that I will necessarily use it, but actually I might use it now that I think of it, because I believe in the independent faction, even though you can change it. Of course, the assets can be different factions, you can change it. But I think there's a Brazilian army, and I might use them as hostiles later on, because they are, of course, the corrupted police and so on. So I think that's pretty much done here. I just need to do not briefing, intro text, and I like to give them again operation, and then I like to make breakers and give them like situation and where they are. So it's gonna be Brazil 1997, and actually I will make a space here before Rio. I will not give the full name Rio de Janeiro, there is no point. I believe that this op is gonna start at midday, so I would do 14 o'clock. Then you just choose the intro type. I like to set the delay as to the max, because sometimes when people log in, there is a script running and it will actually black out their screen. So it's good to have it on a little bit of delay. Mission ending, I don't think we need any of these unless you want to have a specific script running, but I think for the time being that's it. I don't think I need anything else here. So, okay, that's the first thing. Environment. So That's the year and actual date of the operation. It's going to be displayed in the documents, map, and other places. I believe it was for this specific scenario, which is inspired by, I actually have to Google it. So, Rio de Janeiro, 1997, visiting of Pope. Pope John Paul II visited in October. So, this operation is going to be prior to October in September. And let's just do some day. Let's day Wednesday, for example. I thought I did 14. Time multiplier is up to you. I think I will actually pause it or make it minimal. I can pause it later on, doesn't matter. And overcast, I think it's gonna be slightly overcasted so people don't go blind. And we can have a little bit of rain. Why not? Be warned about overcast. It can sometimes lag the devices. And if it's a snow map, it can actually sometimes sound as rain instead of snow. So that's another thing to look out for. Fog and so on. You can just set up any kind of environment you wish there to be. I will just leave it as it is. Wind, by the way, has effect on trajectories and ace ballistics. So beware of that. I think that's it for that setting. And multiplayer. Now, this is a little bit of me being niche, but I like to set it to Zeus, minute player 1, and maximum players 100, because that's the mostly the maximum I have. Same summary, and actually in front of this I will put joint operation. Enable AI, nope. To assign slots, nope. And here, this is quite important for the respawn selection. We will do a custom position. We will set it up later. And I like to do select respawn position and show respawn counter. This one I would set to just few seconds. Let's say 10 seconds when they die, if they die. And this is quite important. I see this in a lot of games that it's not unclicked. And I will explain. I like to unclick show scoreboard for one simple reason. Some players, me included, so by myself I judge the others, are hyenas for kills. So if an operation starts and you know there's gonna be quite a lot of enemies and it's not as heavily militaristic or like heavy milsim, it's just a little bit, it's still milsim-ish, but it's more on the easy side, and you know you're gonna face a lot of enemies. They race each other to kill as many people as they can. It's like the scene from Lord of the Rings when Gimli is racing with Legolas of how many orcs they can kill. It's literally the same thing, and it's between 50 to 60 players. So I personally love to take it off. Otherwise, they will stop caring about objectives. They will not care about their fellow brethren. They will just go for kills. So I'm not saying everyone. I'm not saying everyone, but quite a lot of players do that, me included. So I'm not any better. Revive, not necessary. We are using Ace. Then there is dynamic group setting and dynamic AI skill setting. You can enable it and have a specific setting, but to be fair, I actually like the base settings. There's just enough challenge. They are not completely blind, they are not completely deaf. There can be some scenarios, especially with vehicles. So if you spawn a vehicle, I like to adjust the skill setting for the vehicles. But for the general infantry, I just leave it on as it is. Like the 50% is alright. And it will basically move between 30 to 50 and 50 to 80, which is, I believe, quite alright. Again, there can be scenarios with static entrenchments and vehicles, because static entrenchments are basically vehicles in this game. So even like a 50 cal is basically a vehicle in this game. The AI is crazy. Like they can hit anything between, I said, like 1 kilometer to 2 kilometers sometimes. They are quite cracked. So for those, I do change the AI skill setting, but I just leave it on 50 for the most part. I think that's the basic setting. So there we go. That's done. And now performance. I will quickly explain both of them. So for the garbage collector, I do like to set it up for each And the reason is people will scatter their own trash, right? They will throw away like a weapon or something, and the object is gonna be on map permanently if garbage collector is not set up. So you as a mission maker, you could delete it manually, you could create a script, but essentially you wish to have it automated. It will just take away unnecessary work from you, and I believe I don't really need to like explain it more than that. So for my settings, let's see. I like to do at least 100 meters from the players, so they don't see like a weapon and they go forward to pick it up and it will disappear in front of them or behind them, one or the other. Mode. Absolutely all scenario objects for corpses, because you don't want to have enough corpses. It's the same thing. They will just stay there for the rest of the time. There is a module in the Zeus which will allow you to delete all bodies, but more or less you want it to be generic, like smooth. You don't want the bodies to disappear in front of your players. Sometimes it can be helped, especially if your server is tanking when it comes to FPS, which can be monitored. I will get into that one as well. And yeah, I would most likely do like 25 bodies. So if they kill more than 25 bodies in one or the other place, they will just automatically get deleted. Delays and max delays, I would just leave as they are. There is no need to change those. Same in vehicle wrecks. But for vehicle wrecks, I actually like to do a big number. I like to do 50. Because the thing about vehicle wrecks is they are still simulated, and I will talk about simulation later on as well. Actually, I will talk right after this. They are still simulated, they are there as an object, and they can still be collided with, they still have physics, but most of the time there are not as many vehicles or vehicle wrecks, to be specific, on your map as bodies, like dead player bodies, not player bodies, well, player bodies as well, but the AI bodies. And you want them to be there for the most part, because it will add even more flair to your game if there's a player walking by, let's say, a burning AMRAP or burning tank, which is cooking off, and it adds flair to the operations. So you sort of want them to be there, the vehicle wrecks, if you can help it. Sometimes I don't even set up vehicle wrecks because I just like to keep vehicle wrecks for the rest of the op in a specific place, because if there's an infantry AI man and he dies and he falls down, he's dead, of course, and if the player doesn't need to loot him, essentially the body can disappear. It doesn't matter. But the wreck, it's there more or less like a prop for the map as well later on. So I will leave it on. Dynamic simulation. In Arma 3 engine logic, you have, I would say, 4 modes, more or less, for objects within your map. One is that they are simple objects, which is mostly a rock or stone wall which cannot be damaged or moved, a bridge that cannot be damaged. Basically things which are undamageable and unmovable. It can be anything from a texture on a map to a building which you cannot damage, you cannot move, it doesn't have simulation, it's literally part of the map. That's a simple object. Then you have a simulated object, which basically has all of the laws of physics inside the engine applied to it, which can be a weapon, it can be a tank, it can be a player, it can be a boat or any kind of vehicle, even house. A house is also simulated because it has doors which need to be opened, it has windows which can be shattered, it has damage model, it can also be completely destroyed and collapse. So all of these objects are simulated. And then you have something called dynamic simulation, and from the name you can already probably guess that it is simulated under condition that the player is nearby the specific thing. So let's say there's a tank and there's AI inside the tank. If there's no player within 500 meters of the infantry around the tank, the infantry will not get simulated. Man vehicles, which is by the way also by 2 most of the time. It's multiplied by 2. So 350 is actually 700. So 700 meters away from a tank, it's not simulated. It can still be damaged, by the way. So if there's a tank which is not simulated on your map and somebody hits it from 1 kilometer with a tow missile, it will not be displayed as damaged on their screen, in your screen. But as soon as you, as a Zeus, teleport yourself close to the vehicle, or they come close to the vehicle, it will blow up. Because the simulation will start. I think this is the best explanation I can give, and I will probably not loiter around it. I just like to set it up to, I would say, 700. But for this op, actually, I will actually make it smaller. I will make it 500 meters. Because once they get inside the favelas, I would like them to not be simulated if possible for as long as possible. Manned vehicles, I would do a lot, 700, because there's gonna be some small things which are gonna be around the map. So that's performance done. Okay. Now for settings. This is mostly your stuff actually. This is not for the operation or anything. Audio, all of these settings, they are for you. But this one right here is not. This one is for the mission. So if you go to add-on options, you select the mission, you have all of your add-ons and all of the base settings for Arma here. Well, not base settings, add-on settings. So all this thing is just so many things you can go over. I will just import my own settings, which I have pre-done from other operations, and I will essentially just go quickly over them. I will not stay and explain every single one individually. It's gonna be up to you to Google them, or text me down in the comments and ask. Maybe I will remember them and just directly answer you. That would be the ideal scenario. But a lot of these settings I have done some months ago, and even I have forgotten. I don't know everything, and a lot of times I'm wrong as well. So I will just import them quickly, and I will apply them, and let's go back to them. So improve Zeus Monitor. I actually don't touch this one much because it does just one simple thing, and it will display an FPS of specific players once they are in mission. So when you are as a Zeus and you look at a player, you can see how much FPS he has on his device. So it's a good monitoring tool. Advanced ballistics, it's just ace settings. I would rather not do advanced ballistics because it can lag the server sometimes, and another thing is people do not calculate all of these specific things, and it's just a hustle. You can put it on if you're a more milsim oriented group, but I don't do it. I do, on the other hand, advanced fatigue. So I think most of them are self-explanatory, and it's about how much the player can just tow on his back and how quickly he can move around without draining his entire stamina. Advanced missile guidance, I would just leave it as it is. Throwing, I would display everything because I like Ace Advanced Throwing. I think it's a beautiful addition to the game because it gives you a better opportunity of aiming your actual throw in the game. So when you press Ctrl G, you will get your ace throwing, and it will display you the actual arc, and then you can change it up and just play around with the specific trajectory of your grenade or smoke throw or anything which is throwable. Advanced vehicle damage, this one is on because some vehicles can have specific damage on them, and it's quite good to have them on. Ace AI, nope. Ace Arsenal, yep. So Ace Arsenal is an arsenal which is different from the base vanilla game arsenal. Some people prefer it than the virtual arsenal, me included. I think it's just more friendly towards the mission settings as well, because you can just put it in specific objects through Zeus, and it's more responsive, and people are used to just using the Windows key for interacting with objects anyhow, because Ace is a golden standard for Arma 3. Ace Artillery. Now, here we actually slightly differentiate from vanilla, that we disable every single artillery computer. Artillery computer is the vanilla uh, basically GPS tracking system, where you can just click and send any kind of artillery shell at a specific location without any calculations. In the ops, which I like to make, I disable it. So if there's a mortar team, they actually have tablet, they have their own range card, and they need to calculate the specific charge, the specific distance, and then send the shell, have an actual player on the other end who is either a JTAG or just fire or observe specialist, and he will relay the information back to them. Ace captives, simple explanation. Have it on, because this will allow you to handcuff people. So with zip ties, so it's very good. Ace casings off because of performance. If it's a small operation, have it on. But if it's a large operation like here, for 50, 60 plus players, probably have it off. Ace common. I don't even know where it's here. It's just random things. Ace cook off. Alright, so this is a little bit of hot topic. I have it off because it can again put a strain on the server, and sometimes it can actually bug out, and let's say a tank will start cooking off, exploding and throwing shrapnel around it, but it will be without audio and without animations. So that's one of the main bugs with it. And secondary, it can be a strain on the server. Therefore, I would maybe not prefer to have it on. But again, if it's a small scenario, the server has more time to calculate these specific things, and there's not as many assets, feel free to put it on. But there's a risk, of course. Ace crew served weapons. I don't even know if this is vanilla setting. I'm a little bit lost there. Ace dragging, of course. You want to have ace dragging on all the time, so you can drag the wounded. Ace explosives. Yes, you need to check every single one. So not every single player can defuse bombs. You can create a specific role and slot for explosives. Or like a not weapon, explosive specialist. Ace, I think it's EOD trait, which you need to assign to players later on for that as well. Ace field rations, I have them off. It's just cosmetic. You can technically have it on if you wish players to have little water and food bar, but I don't think there's a point for the operations that I make to have it on. Maybe we could do it later on again for World War II or Vietnam op, but for modern settings, I cannot think of a setting that it would be applied for. Maybe also generation kill campaign or something like in Middle East. So that can be applications, but I generally have it off. Ace fire off, Fortify on. This will let you use Ace Fortify tool, which is for presets, which will let you build fortifications, or at least engineers will have the option on. Fragmentations, I have this off. G-forces and so on. Googles, grenades. Most of the settings are actually self-explanatory, and there should be only a few things which I would like to stop by, which is actually Ace Hearing. I like Ace Hearing, but again, some players in real life might have tetanitis, ex-service, or just they used to work in factory. No matter the reason, you don't want them to have ringing in their ear next to their actual ear ringing. So it's like ear ringing times 2. So I have it off, and it can bug out as well, where you're gonna have constant ace combat deafness, and it's just unpleasant. So we have it off. Next up for me is going to be medical. So this is how you wish to set up the ACE model. Sorry about it, I'm sick. ACE model for players and AI as well, how their wounds work, and how basically the models get wounded if they limp, let's say on fracture. I think most of this is self-explanatory and each player needs to go through it by himself. And then there is medical treatment. Is who do you wish to have specific rights and specific ways of fixing specific wounds? So the only thing which I like to change is two things. Pack. So that's pack is PAK. That's a thing which only doctors, in my humble opinion, should be able to use on other players, because it will basically let them be completely healed. Like it will completely fix the player to like fully healed. So I leave it only for doctors. And then surgical kits is about stitching, and I would probably put it to medics. So doctors and medics can do it, but normal players who don't have trade medic or doctor cannot stitch. I think that's the most important things. Next, also blood, IV transfusions. You would most likely not have regular grunt giving you IV transfusion in your veins. It would most likely be a combat medic or a doctor. So there goes that. Ace night vision. Sometimes it's good to play around with this, but you can actually set it up in the mission as a script to change the actual moon. To change the actual moon reflection. So I would not bother with the ace night vision much. Overheating, pointing, pylons, quick mount, repair. I don't think I need to go into any details of these that much. Yeah, this one. I would go actually hit to Zeus and create Zeus menu. Available for the host or logged in admin. This is extremely important. It's not just for you as a mission maker when you make the mission and you play around with the settings and you also try your own scenario, but also once this is running on the server and you log in as admin or the main Zeus basically, it will allow you to create Zeus for yourself. Just in case things break, this will let you make a Zeus. So, and once you're in Zeus interface, you can give Zeus to other people or do whatever you need to do. So, I would actually change this 100% to be able to do this. Then there is a cat, and I will not get into cat. I apologize, but cat is an extremely advanced medical system, and as you can see, airway, breathing, chemical circulation, feedback, GI, hypodermis. It's quite annoying, and the only thing which I would probably do is pharmacy, which will let you use stuff like ketamine, fentanyl, narc, and like other things which you might need in your setting. TPD mortars, I'll just leave it as it is. And most of these settings, when I'm like looking over them quickly, I think they are at the base one. Yeah, they are mostly vanilla settings. Cat is its own category. Ace medical is quite good. Cat is just more realistic. You can also go through it and for example, chemical. We don't have chemical on. At least should not be on. Should not be on. I don't think it is. Ah, doesn't matter. So, so that's pretty much for add-on settings. Then you can export, import, save, load, and so on. I like to import export because Arma is not great at saving and so on presets. I just like to export import. It's basically a text format, and you can save it anywhere you wish in a text file document, which is on almost every single operation system. So that's our settings done, and the game is pretty much set up. I absolutely forgot to save it as. You save it as something, and you make sure the binarized scenario file is on. So it will give you a SQM file which is important for the actual handling of the files and so on, for servers and so on. And I will just I just put in the entire settings. I'll put in the name of the op real quick so I can quickly find it. File name, joint operatio, pass terna, and save. Now there's going to be also autosave from now on. Control S is saving, VASD is how you move. Left, right, you can watch by just pressing right button on your mouse. And Shift will allow you to speed up your camera movement. Then you have, if you will be in a helicopter, it will be the same thing. Decline is decline and rising is rising. But I feel like it's slightly different is Q and Y, just in case you don't have it buttoned as you have your helicopter. So that's the basic controls, of course. And let's start setting up the basic things. So you see your map, of course, which you selected essentially for the specific scenario which you have in mind. For me, I have already thought of some objectives as well for this mission. And that would be, of course, that they would have to secure the favelas, which are actually here. So this is going to be the main favelas. If you wish to see it without the taskbars, press not enter, but the one button right above it, backspace. Press backspace to get rid of your HUD. By the way, you can still interact with things, so be careful. But this gives you a better view of things if you press backspace in editor, so you can have better look around. So that's pretty much it. And yeah, now you can start placing down your assets and so on. And I will quickly now go also the dynamic setting once more, just in case people missed it, or they are looking for specific things inside the video. So let's say there's a player right here, right? And you have enemy force up, up, up ahead. Let's do some kind of measuring from here to here. Oops. This is 600 meters, which is quite perfect actually. So, and here is enemy unit right here. If I go over the unit, I select all of it and I press Alt and D, I will give them dynamic simulation. And I also like to double check by clicking the actual squad. You can do it either here in your left side or above them. There's a little square. You click it and you need to check for enable dynamic simulation. So it is on and the individual units are also on. You can see it by this little blue like a viewport. So it's on. And now even if I create a waypoint, by the way, you create them by selecting the specific unit, shift, right click, and you can make specific waypoints for them. You can also double click on the specific waypoint and set up what they should actually be doing. If they should be rushing, they should have formation, they should be moving, of course, and they should go here. Okay. And then, for example, you could also have like multiple points. Select it again, click multiple times to their original location, and then on this one you change it to cycle. Okay, and what happens now is that they will go here, 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 and then they will go back here, and they will repeat the same way. This is the easiest way of making patrols. Basically, you create something like this, and they will just keep going in circles till they get engaged. Once they get engaged, they will forget about this, and they will fight the players. Unless they have careless, which is right here, careless. But you should always have them on aware or safe, one or the other. Careless is just they will not respond to anything. Stealth is that they will try to sneak around, avoid vehicles, and so on. And combat is that they will have their guns up and they will start, yeah, basically searching for enemies within their proximity. If when I start a scenario right now, they will actually not move or do anything. So I will start a scenario as the player, which I selected. And once it loads, hopefully, I will not spawn as a character because I forgot one specific step. So, okay. I will get my mission file quickly because I realized that I forgot something, and I will explain. So right now I have no spawn points because I have not put them in specific places yet. And the thing about Arma is if you have spawn points and initially players do not spawn in the location where they are placed, like here, the server has to kill this character and let you respawn in specific place which you set up. What I mean by that is I put the guy right here, the player, and once I start the scenario, the game killed this character, puts him in the edge of the map, and then teleports the copy of the character to the respawn position. Let's say I put the respawn position here. And it's a lot of stress on the server, especially if there is like 70 or 60 or 50 players logging in. So what you want to do is you create a description.ext, aka execute mission file in your MP mission place. So this is the route for me. C user, my name, of course, documents, Arma 3, other profiles, Rufi, which is my nickname, MP missions. I find the join up or the map which I just created. So joined Operacio Pasaterna. I click on it. I put the mission file is right here, by the way, and there is description.ext. So you can create this file manually as well. So I open it in Visual Code or Notepad. Notepad is fine as well. You don't need Visual Studio. I like Visual Studio, but it's not necessary to have it. And you just put in these two things. One, respawn on start, which will let you start, which will let you spawn your characters. I think this one has to be -1, or it can be slightly different. I don't remember precisely, but -1 works perfectly fine for me, which makes the value, of course, different to the basic one, which is 0 or 1. Actually, I don't remember. And it will tell the server to spawn the character in the specific location where they are placed in the server editor or the mission editor. So if I place him here, and now I start a mission. By the way, this will just enable a debug console. That's something for admin of the mission. So I save it now. I know the description file here is as well, so I can close this file with the mission in it. I will start a scenario. I will select my guy, and now the local host, once it's loaded, it will basically spawn me in the specific place where I am, and it will not do the extra steps, as I said previously, if you have a specific respawn point or position. So it will take a little bit a load of server, and there is going to be less room for error. Because sometimes when you have it the other way around, where the players are deleted and then a copy of them is created somewhere, it will actually fuck up the loadouts, and there can be a lot of things happen wrong with it. So this is actually quite safe way, and it's also better for performance. Now I will just click continue, and it will actually spawn me in the specific location where I have set the guy up in a few seconds. Hopefully. One day. There we go. And now, as I also said previously in the settings, I can create Zeus. I am creating Zeus without having, have it previously. And as I've set up these guys right here, they have the waypoints, they have everything. They are alive, of course, but they are not simulated. So the server is saving performance right now. But if I take my guy and I would walk up the road, and I would, let's say, be here, these guys all of a sudden start moving. This guy doesn't want to. They start moving, of course, down the road, and they will start, of course, interacting with the ward around them, and if I would come even closer, they will start shooting at me. Right now they are just cycling their waypoints and patrolling. Or really, oh, and they're shooting at me. They spotted me. So I will disable damage. And as you can see, I can also see my own FPS right here. Like, this is the actual FPS on my device. Wow. Okay, that can be a problem later on. Yeah, that's something for future Martin to deal with. So, that's it. That would be for dynamic simulation. You can do it inside the op as well. For example, let me grab a tank. Let's do the 80 right here. Right now it's simulated, right? It can turn the turret. It can start its engine. It can drive around. But once I double click on it and I deselect enable simulation, it will basically stop interacting with the world around it. The physics right now are disabled for the vehicle. It can still get damaged. It can still, of course, the crew inside is still simulated. So if I make them bail out by pressing G, they are of course still simulated. But the vehicle itself, it's not simulated. It has no physics applied to it. It can still be blown up, but let's force blow it up by pressing end. But there's no blowing up animation, nothing. But once I double click it again and I press enable simulation, it will blow up and it will be applied physics as well. So I think that pretty much does it for simulation and dynamic simulation, of course. So it's a good thing to look out for and set up in your missions. As I said previously, this is dynamic simulation. Simulation is if I just put it down and I'll leave it be. So as soon as the operation starts, these guys are simulated, they interact with the board, and the server, of course, has to simulate the physics around them and execute their commands. So this is normal simulation, dynamic simulation. And then there's also static or simple objects. You need most likely structure for it. Let's see, I think one of the boxes has it. Let's see, I think the brown boxes, if I can find them real quickly. Some objects don't have the option to have it, unfortunately. Of course I cannot find it. Let's do this one. Does it have it? It does. No, it doesn't. Damn it. Of course, when I'm searching for something, it cannot be made a simple object. You can still try to force them to be simple objects via commands, specific commands. But I like to do it through the ace interact, and then if it's not in the setting of the objects, special setting to be precise, I try to force it once more through a script. I'm just trying to find anything that I could make a simple object. It's quite embarrassing. Perfect. Camping. So, right now, as it is, this thing right here is the same as the soldiers. It can be interacted with, it can be collided with, it has physics of the world applied to it. If I go inside here and I go into special states, I can give it also dynamic simulation, or just press Alt D. As you can see, it's flicking because I'm turning it on and off. Alt D, and now it has dynamic simulation. And we already explained the dynamic simulation. I don't think I need to go over it again. So now it has dynamic simulation. Player needs to be close to it or not, but that's not why I want to show you this. This is the third type. It's simple object. If I unclick dynamic simulation I can pretty much leave anything on, it doesn't really matter. Or you can make, you know, just sure, and just click on simple object. This will affect your performance like on the server like crazy. So if it's set up this way and you have it somewhere like here, it will actually get blended inside the map. But the cons are two. One, it cannot be interacted with anymore, it cannot be damaged, it cannot be moved, and even worse, the other point, number two, it cannot be deleted inside the Zeus. So, if you make this a simple object, it will basically stay where it is once you put it in editor. So, it's a good way of saving performance, but again, the cons can sometimes hinder your game, so make sure that they are, let's say, the greatest example that I can think of actually right now is Barricade. Or not Barricade, Barrier? Junk Barrier, here it is. So this one right here. Oh, that's another one actually. I will explain local. I'm jumping to other one. Sorry. So that's for this one right here. Yeah, and I would like to jump to one which I've actually forgotten about, which is a local only. So the best way to use local only in my book at least, which might not be correct, but that's the way I like to sort of do it, is let's say you have a barricade here on the road because you want players to turn to the right, right? So you make a barrier. You also take like a wreck of tank or something. Here. You just play around with it a little bit, of course, you make it look pretty. So they know that they just cannot go forward through the road and they cannot turn left because they will go over the cliff. So they are forced to go right with the convoy. If you leave it as it is right now, it will drain, again, performance from your server. So what you can do, you can either make them simple objects, or you can go into the settings again, show the model, and put it on local only. So it cannot take damage, and it's not simulated. This is the second best thing you can do to a simple object. Because what this does is that it's not saved on the server, it is saved on every individual computer. And I will explain the cons and the good part about it. So basically, if you cannot make a simple object in your op, you can make a local object only, which is shown, but it cannot be damaged and it cannot be simulated. The reason why it should not be able to be damaged or simulated is because, again, it's on individual computers. So let's say it would be simulated and damageable. One player would destroy them, but it would still be here for other players and the server as well, because server in this scenario would be counted as player as well. So if it's only a barricade and you cannot make a simple object because some unknown reason, this is actually a pretty good way of making barricades, because it's going to be the strain on the performance on every individual computer, not on the server. So it's a slight way of saving performance. You can make a lot of objects this way, but again, they should not be movable and they should not be damageable. Those two things are important, so you don't create desync for objects within each player's monitor, like what they actually see and interact with. I think that's pretty much it for the objects or special objects settings, at least my understanding of them. And I would like to move towards the slots. Yeah, let's do the slots. So, you have the scenario, of course, and you choose some sort of starting locations. Airport is nice for, let's say, invasion force or local military. Also, I believe there's a ship right here. Yep, that's the Nimitz or whatever, whichever carrier it is. So you could have a few helicopters here or some aircraft, but we are gonna be cops. So maybe I will put something here, but essentially, actually now thinking of it, I don't even want it to be here. So what I can do is go to Systems, Modules, and go for Hide. Hide terrain or objects. I will create it. I will press space a few times, and then I will just create a specific area in which I don't want anything to be visible, which is simple object. So, ta-da! And it's gone. But be wary. This can actually also hinder your performance of the server, because all of the modules are basically executes. So it needs to be executed for every single player once they join. So use it sparingly. You know, if possible, just use it once or twice. Do not use it like across the whole city, because that will send a lot of data packs or data. Yeah, data packs. I'm thinking about network. It will send a lot of data to each player individually, so it can actually strain the server as well. But if you create like just one place like this, I even lost it. Where is it? It's right here. So, you know, the ship is gone because I don't need it. And I don't want it to be visible either. There are a few tricks with hide terrain objects as well on my channel. It's actually for bridges and destruction of bridges, which is quite interesting. So feel free to check it out. And actually, let's go over the other modules, which could be usable. I feel like the first one in Ace would be Fortify, which I would think of, which lets you set up which specific preset you could set up in a map, and you can make your own custom presets in the same file as we set it up the spawn location of our players, and I enabled the debug. I will show it once more. So basically, this one. Oops. I might be in. I'm not in the wrong. Steam apps, common. I can just go here instead. So in this description, execute, you can actually have your own preset as well. I will show you how it looks like. I believe it was in this one. I can just use Notepad because why not? Right here, class Ace Fortify preset. Then you name it. Then you display name, how you see it, and then you just put in specific objects, and this value is going to be the price of the object. So if I'm here, I press that. Only 145 per op, no more, no less, just one. And here you have budget. So let's say 30. So I put in 60. I can build this trench twice. Also, the price equals the amount of seconds it takes to build it. So if you want to build 2 trenches, it's gonna take 60 out of your budget, right here, and it will take 30 seconds per each trench to build. And this is actually, I'll show you, if you spawn in any object, let's say this gate right here, you want your engineers to be able to build this gate, you right click on it, go to log, and I believe you copy classes to clipboard. That should be it, if I remember correctly. Yeah. It's technically the little text you see underneath. Land, net, fence, gate, F. So this is the class, and you would just put it here. And then, boom, save, put it a specific price to it, bracket, and then make another line, and you put in more and more and more assets which you want your players to be able to build. In this one, I will not have any logistics that need to build stuff, so it's not necessary, but you know, it's good to know for the sake of the operation making. Ambient sound, slideshows, you can play around with all these things, but I don't use them for the most part. ambient audio, backpack on chest. This is automatic script anyhow, but you can force it on specific places or things or players and so on. So you could basically put down a player right here, and you could just, you know, play around with his stuff. So you could put it on chest if it would work. Oh yeah, you assign it through sync. Yeah, but doesn't matter. CBA models. So about these CBL models, it's basically the same thing as in the AI which I set it up, but it's a little bit more advanced because you can sync it to multiple units. Combat patrols, that's things from there are like a lot of effects, environments, stuff that you can play with. There's weather here as well, but it's basically the same thing you have in attributes and environment. And a lot of these things you will also have in your Zeus, so you don't even need to change them. I'm just trying to quickly look over things that might need explaining. Intel. Intel is quite important because through Intel you can create tasks. So I would quickly go over creating tasks. So let's say we wish to make a specific task in the favelas right here. So we make a parent task. It's a bit of like programming, to be fair, but that's just how it's structured. After all, it's all made in C, so doesn't matter. You create a die record. Actually, no. You made a task. You create a task, which is gonna be the parent task. You double click it. You don't care about anything else here. You just care about system specific, system create task. All playable units, very important. Task number 1. Title. Let's say favelas. Module position. On the parent task, I would mostly disable it, and I would probably just this is just the icon which will display. You can put the parent class as a default, or it's up to you really. I like to put it as map. Show notification, sure, why not. Destination disabled, favelas. Okay, so now I have my parent task, and let's create a subtask for the parent task. So this is task number 1. Actually, let me delete the space. No space. That's just me personally. I don't like spaces. Task. All playable units. So this is gonna be a task for my parent task. Okay. So here I will create an actual. Which could I make? Let's make a kill. Okay. So this is gonna be synchronized with object. It's gonna be, yep, created. It's gonna be a kill icon. Show notification, sure. So these two are aligned with each other. This is the parent and this is the sub. So this sub will actually have a specific task, which is, as you can see now, kill, and I will do a better kill or rest. Let's be fair, they will kill him most likely. Local militia leader. Kill or arrest local militia leader. But if task is like here right now, it's just created for every player, but there is no completion, nothing. So what you want to do is set task state, and you can do either completed or, you know, failed. It's up to you. I like to do succeeded, for example. And now I will create actually a trigger. So you need to link them all. So trigger to set task state and set task state towards to create task. Now you just double click the trigger. Server only. Extremely important to have that on. And now we can write script. And the simplest one for this type of task would be alive HVT1. What does it do? Alive is a condition or a script which will execute if the specific keyword or specific identity name, which is HVT1, is no longer alive on the server. So now I can create by going to op4, and I believe I will need South American Cartel, Men, Sicaros. Let me get a team leader right here. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Haha. Give me a second. South American Bandits. Here we go. And I need a crime boss. Thank you. So this is gonna be my militia leader, right? And now I will go here, go into init, and I will give him the same name. Another HVT1. So as long as this guy is alive, this task is active. Go and kill him or arrest him. So he's gonna be right here, and he's gonna do whatever he needs to do. And I can also synchronize the task to him with the destination. So this destination right now is gonna be, this task is gonna be right above him at all times, displayed on the map. So I can just put him a little bit far away so you can see it in action. I will start a scenario. And hopefully it will start soon. And it will also spawn me on the location that I put the specific player. Once that is done, I will just execute the entity, which is the crime boss, and it should, if it's perfectly set it up as it is, favelas, parent task, and subtask kill or arrest local militia leader. You can make more conditions for the parent task. For example, if all sub-tasks are finished, it will complete the parent class, but I don't really bother. It just takes unnecessary amount of time, and you could make it, of course, but it will just take more time from you. I create the Zeus again. It's handy, isn't it? And now I can see on the map. Even if I'm in my player interface, I can see him on the map. He's right here. So, kill or arrest local militia leader. And if I go into Zeus and I select him and I move him, it will update his location. He's of course alive and simulated, but if I go around here, I'm a player, and I pop him, ta-da, task completed. We have completed the task, and it even shows it as completed. So that's basically initial tasking. You can do this not only for AI, but you can do it also for objective. So you can set up another idea would be destroy a tank or destroy a supply depot. So if you do supply, like a truck right here. Oops, what did I click? Garrison. I don't want to make garrison. So I can do the same thing. So HVT1, I would just put it here in the variable name instead. Is just variable name. It can be anything. It can be a vehicle. It can be a box. So you need to destroy this box. It can be attached to anything. It doesn't need to have a destination either. It can be disabled, of course. But for some objectives, I like to have it on or synchronized so the players would not have to go around and go blindly. Oh, that's nice. I will have him here actually. I will probably keep this in mission because why not? I already made it, so might as well make the best out of it. Sometimes it's good to make them immortal, so the players cannot just immediately kill them upon. Why is it not snapping? Now it is. Whoa. Okay. So that's kind of goofy, this asset. Okay. It doesn't like to snap. I don't know what's with that. Hopefully it's the structure is not buggy. Actually, let me see. So yeah, the engine is not perfect, of course. There are things which are the same they were during or last 5, 6, 7 years. So it could get a little bit more love, but I feel like we're gonna just wait for Arma 4. For the next objectives, which I have selected for this mission, is some kind of protection mission. For example, for protect the church area or the church district where the Pope is supposed to go, because of course it's 1997, Boppe, and they have to clean favelas and adjusted region for the arrival of Pope. So there's gonna be sweeps for IDs, hidden arms caches, securing the key routes, and mostly like actual raids. So there's gonna be raids on the cartel safe houses, more capture or kill missions, securing intelligence or coded communication intels, which I will display. I will just quickly check if the building is not buggy. It's not. Unless. What the hell? That's not good. What the hell was that about? Oh, it's in unplayable zone. That's why. So there is nobody supposed to be there anyhow. So it's buggy there. That was confusing, very confusing. Okay. So yeah, you have to check things sometimes 5, 6, 7 times. It's an unfortunate process, but that's how things are. Oh yeah, here it snaps. Another thing, as you can see me, I'm pressing left Alt and I'm changing the elevation of the specific entity. And right here on the top left, you have toggle vertical mode and snapping. So you can unclick those and now you can just slowly move them around wherever you wish. But snapping is on for the most part, so you can just go boop, snap. Okay, he's at the ground level and just leave him there. I think I will just let you like go over this. For example, this is a scaling grid, all of these tools. For the most part, you will literally just need no widget for selection. Our widget is pretty good because it will let you scale specific things. And then just the snapping. I don't think you will need more than that, to be fair. So, that's our first objective done. Right there. Cool, right? Isn't this exciting? Once you're gonna do like 50 of these, you're gonna just be annoyed by making them. Back to this guy. So, let's go back to modules, since we get distracted. And last time I was at Intel. And since we are still in the Intel actually, let's do one more thing. I have said that for one of the tasks, which is gonna be probably task number 3, I think, in like my notes, I will do this. I'll just copy it, task 3, and this is gonna be find Intel. Disabled. So it's gonna not have any position. It's a different task. This is gonna be the same, and this is gonna be alive as well, and it's gonna be called Intel 1. Same thing. So I need to create a parent task. So I just copy one of the parent tasks. This is number 3. All playable units. This is gonna be called militia cell. Or let's do this. Hostile militia cell. Favela area. So, let's grab this. So, let's go and grab this towards a place where we will have our local militia. This looks like an actual army place. There's an actual rocket silo here. This map is very interesting. But it's quite rich on assets. I think you can make a lot of things here. Alright, what do we have here? The actual measure compounds. I think this is a good location. So, my militias are gonna be here. And I need to create intel for them, for the players to pick up. So, yeah, let's create intel. You can just type in intel. And here you have some things which you could put on the ground and create script with it. I like to use the cup. Again, cup assets. I have 11 gigabytes of assets just for these intels. No, but they are pretty nice, to be fair. So let's make a file, as it is here. Of course, it's a simple notebook. And I give it the same property as I did with the militia or gang leader. I just give it a variable name. And in the special states, I will just show the model and enable simulations. The image, I would rather click it off because I don't want them to disappear. And now, this one will actually need a little bit of script because you need to add interactive button for pickup, and you need also self-delete. So what will I do now is put those inside the object. And if I find my debug right here, I have so many scripts over the years which I've accumulated and I just keep abusing. So Intel scripts. I don't need teleport, I don't need cargo, inside, teleport, Intel, here is Intel. And the simplest pickup which you can create is as follows. If has interface, then this add action, pick up Intel documents. So this is gonna add a scrollable, basically just looking at the document and scroll. So it will display that you can pick it up. Parameters. Target, killer, hit, Intel's picked up, delete vehicle. This is basically the main command for the self-deletion. If the players picked it up, is player blah blah blah, and this is just game logic. If I'm not wrong. Okay, so I will just take the document. Right now I'm just gonna put it on the floor here. I'm gonna put something next to it so I can quickly find it. And there's gonna be, of course, the compound is gonna be swarmed with militias and bunkers and trucks and guns and so on, all the good stuff, and they will be dynamically simulated, of course, so we save performance on the server. All of the objectives and which are pre-set up by you should be dynamically simulated if possible to again save the performance of the server. That's the main thing in Arma. Everything is built around the Arma performance because this game runs like shit, and if you add shit ton of assets and vehicles and so on, you're gonna make it even worse. I had to learn the hard way that yeah, this game it's horrible at times. So here he is. Blah, blah, blah. The player will come here. He will pop the AI. He will come here, pick up, and he found the intel. You could also add one more thing, which I will just do. Boop. This is the Ace Medical. Most people are already familiar with it. You can create an actual intel pop-up, which is gonna be done as so. Diary record. I need a split second because I have a brain freeze. Just give it a minute. The clocks are turning. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Show and hide. Another thing which you will need. And diary record. Okay. So. No. 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 Not show and hide. I have absolute brain freeze. This is what Arma does to a guy, you know? Oh yeah, you just need the module. You don't need show and hide. I had a silly moment right there. So, this trigger, if Intel is alive, you will just sing to create a record. In here, you make whatever you want. All playable units, remember, subject. Let's say weapon trade documents with favelas. I don't remember which is which. I don't think I. Oh yeah, subject should be normal. Actually no. Yeah. You can put let's say Intel from malicious situation. This doesn't matter because you will override it. And now you will write in whatever information you want them to have. For example, now I'm going with just text base, but you could also put in images, but it's completely different scenario. You need to create absolutely different type of trigger and script as well, and it's a nightmare because you also need to upload the image with a specific format through Arma tools. Okay, so let's keep it simple. Let's do 3 technicals, 1 no armored vehicles, 3 technicals, 4 RP for RPGs. 2 grenade launchers. 100 AK-47, for example. Save, save. Okay. We are already 1 hour and 30 minutes in. Oh my god, this takes so much time. It will take even more time to edit. But it's life. And I decided to make this because I think it's a long time come, and there are people who play my missions and they probably might have suggestions to things that I'm doing wrong or correctly, if they ever decide to look upon how I create missions. So, yeah. Let's create a Zeus again. Go to Belle Avenue. Right here. Teleport. Right here in briefing, I have nothing. In tasks, I have these objectives. I pick it up. And I have a new category here. Intel from militias. Weapon trade documents with favelas. 3 technicals, 4 RPGs, 2 grenade launchers, 100 AK-47s. Simple. You can put any text you want here to give as an intel. Ta-da! Okay, so that's been tasks and simple tasks. I will show you how to do one more task, which is presents. So, let's say I will have here just the militias. Let's use yeah, Africans. I don't know who to use, man. I didn't think of this yet. I can just use Brazilian army, because why not? Regular. Let's just use riflemans. They're gonna be the evil militias or corrupted cops, or I don't know. I'll probably change this later. So you have independent here right now. We will take a trigger. That's too big. Again, triggers have something called a tick, which is basically how many times does the server have to check the specific trigger. These triggers, which I'm setting up right now with actual an AOE of like, let's say whatever function you give it, you know, this thing is refreshed by server, and he's checking for the variables inside the trigger. The bigger the zone is, the worse for the server. So if possible, have the trigger as small as possible with the specific area where you're setting up the mission. For me, I think it's gonna be just around here in the center of the city, because I think they will kill, or approach the city from all sides, and then they will just slowly get to the center. So I think I will have it right here. Now I open the trigger. Server only. Again, server only. Activation independent and not present. So what does it do right now? The trigger will activate only if the independents are all dead. So I'll put 3 others, and I will create a task. I said I will create a task and set task state, and I will sync them first. Trigger to set task state, and set task state to the task. So set task state succeed, of course, or didn't succeed, up to you. You can play with it and make a lot of funny things. Task 3, and clear out What is it called again? Belevule. Belevule. Ah, only vue. Belevue. So, task tree, clear out Belevule. Destination. You could have model position. And here I would say danger, because why not? State, just create it. Assign, it's basically it will automatically assign to players, but just have it created. Doesn't matter much between those two. Those two matter a lot, but these two, not really. It's up to you. Okay, it's set up. So right now, if I start it again and load it up one day or another, I'll tap for a second. Give me a split second. So it's visible. I can come here, pop the guys. If I wouldn't suck balls. And clear out, completed. Yay. If I check my map as a player, it's finished as well. Simple as it can be, really. You can also create some additional task objectives. You can play around with it. You can make reverse triggers. So you make a trigger for present of blue 4, which it will basically do is if they walk in here, it will activate a trigger and it will do anything else. This is the beauty of the sandbox. You can make anything you can think of inside this thing, with some limitations, of course, of the game engine. So, I think that's pretty much it for Intel, or Intel that I can think of. And I would like to move to multiplayer. Right here, you'll care about especially two things: respawn position and vehicle respawn. Vehicle respawn is for specific vehicles that you want to be, of course, respawned in specific places. So you can have a lot of variables here, which you can change. I personally don't use them because I like limited assets, and also because I'm lazy as fuck. And the other one is respawn position. As you know, previously in attributes, we have set it up in multiplayer, respawn on custom position, and we will create a custom position right now. Respawn position, let's put here, number 1, and put it in infantry. Side, it's important to have it on blue 4. Show to everyone, and notification enabled, because why not? Now, name. This goes A to Z. The good way to, you know, for the sake of your players, is to number them. So, number 1, airfield. Respawn number 2. I don't even know where would I place number 2. I don't even know how I will separate the units in here. I guess I could. Whoa, this looks good. I could make something here happen. Oh, hello there. This looks so scuffed. Oh god. But I bet there's like stuff inside as well. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, I have not seen this map that much in detail, so there are things which I have not seen yet. I will just create a custom police station here. I mean, whatever. So I will put this one a little bit far away. It's gonna be for the pilots, I guess. Shit. I don't think I even need more respawn positions in this map. But I should have one more. Yikes. Okay, for the sake of argument, I will just figure it out later. So I have set up the respawn position. So you probably hear me snack. Doesn't matter. Man's hungry, alright? And the game doesn't want to load. There we go. So the game is of course ignoring the respawn right now because in the mission file I have a script, or not script, simple line of code which will prohibit from custom spawns at initial spawning in. So the players spawn in the location of their place again. I actually don't even need that. I'll go to respawn. There's a 10 seconds timer, so I can think about my crimes against humanity. I select the specific spawn. As I said, it's A to Z, so if you have airfield, and then you have barracks, and then you have castle and boat, it will automatically shuffle them around. So the good way to prevent it is do number 1, number 2, number 3. Respawn, boom, respawn. My body right there. Spooky. So, let's respawn. Next thing next. What do we have here? Hell no. Hell no. Old Man has actually some really good things, but I barely use them because it's very niche. And other, let's see, what do we have here? Yeah, I don't use any of these because I have most of the things in Zeus if I need them. Scenario flow, same thing. I do it in Zeus. Same thing here, same thing here, same thing here, same thing here. Same thing here. That's Zeus itself. So, we did that. Logic entities. For the most part, you don't need those because you already have it done. The only thing which I think is quite important here is Headless Client. Some people use them, but because our server is on beta version and it has multi-threading, we don't really need Headless Client that much. But they can help, especially if you have like a very custom scenario where there are just waves and waves of AI. Then you should probably do Headless Client. But if you have 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 ratio of enemy forces, you don't really need Headless Client if it's on the beta version, especially. One more thing in the modules which I didn't say is Game Master, right here in Zeus, and you want your player, or at least few of them. It's up to you if you want in blue for civilian. I like to do it in blue for because then I can see the player drawings. You select when you create slots, it's always good to select vanilla slots. I'll explain 2 reasons why. One, some of the mod creators in their ultimate wisdom have a randomizer on for equipment, which can be turned off, but still, it's not ideal. And secondly, some of the modded units have special attributes, like you can see it here, for example, the markings, and so on. You don't want those because it's just more things to go wrong. Specific line of codes goes wrong, your entire slot is broken. You never ever want to create player slots with anything but vanilla. So you create vanilla slots right here. I took a rifleman, of course, give him different things, and I want him to be Zeus, right? So I will go in init, Zeus 1. I also go to control, Zeus 1, and Zeus 1. Alright, what do I do here? I will go over this after this as well, but I just want to make sure that everybody gets the message here. A variable name is important for the module, for the Zeus, and the role description is how it's seen in the multiplayer lobby. So Zeus 1, it's name of my slot, and Zeus 1 with at is basically the name of the group. So I could technically just sync it, right? But it's better to do both. Sync it to the game master, do all add-ons, including unofficial ones, so you can use absolutely every single thing which you have in your mod pack, and just owner and name. Same thing. Boom, you're done. I know a lot of Zeus ones. Here you do not change the init because this should not have any init for like I can see any reason why you would need init unless you create your specific own custom game logic for Zeus, which I don't know what the hell you would need that for, but sure. So I need 3 Zeuses, but I need to give them equipment as well, which you know, I need to do through Ace Arsenal. As I said, I like Ace Arsenal more than the buy virtual arsenal or the other game arsenal. Basically, this just displays it more beautifully in the real life or the map where you add, and it's just more comfortable. The only difference that I could possibly see in the buy virtual arsenal, which is by the way separated by a loading screen, is that sometimes you have more things here. Just like specific class or specific things has a different name that it's not allowed in the Ace Arsenal, or vice versa actually. Some assets will not be displayed in the basic vanilla arsenal, but it will be displayed in the arsenal in Ace. It's tricky, it's funny, but it's Arma. It's held together by duct tape, so it works. Don't question it. So that would be the modules, waypoints. Those are the same things I showed you before, but I actually don't like to use these. I like to use of course, the shift, and then I just change it here. I think it's more comfortable because I can also set up these things like faster than if I would do it in waypoints. But there can be like some custom scenarios where I can see you using these ones, especially the advance and the ace. Let units fast rope. If you play the World War II CDLC, you will also have the CDLC power drop here, which is really nice. It's very good for scenarios. Triggers, I think I explained them already. Compositions and objects. Difference. Objects are individual, compositions are multiple, and there's also 2 other things, which is in props. If you go to props, you can select specific things and put them in together real fast, and then you can just delete them, like small, simple things somewhere here and there. And you can also save your own custom compositions as well, which you might need for the mission. It can be also vehicles or props or AIs, it can be anything. So, since that is done, I have forgotten one more thing, because I have just copy pasted my things here. We need to go to faction filter in your mission. So, right here, I like to deselect factions that I will not be using during the op, because as you've seen in the Zeus or even here, there are so many factions and I will not use them all. I truly don't see a reason to have them all here, especially if I'm in Zeus. So if you go to add options, Zeus enhance, faction filter, and you just deselect the forces which you don't need. I don't see a need for Australian, for Ukraine, Azov, no, Brazilian, yep, I could use those. CDF, I don't remember what it is, but let's keep it in just for a second. Colombian, CTGR, National Guard. I don't see any reason. Docs, I will need docs. Finnish Defense Forces, Finnish Granimir, hell, oh my god, no, none of this. I don't think we will need any of that. I like to live in the USA because sometimes you need the specific assets. Same reason why I left the Brazilian. I don't necessarily need them as AI, but I might need the assets which they have, like vehicles and so on. So I save that, and now I just have to check what the CDF is. Oh, it's the Chernarus stuff. Yeah, I don't need those. If possible, you know, have a saved copy of your Addon settings prior to doing this, so you're not confused. Like, what the hell are these variables? Okay, I think that's pretty much it for Blue 4. Civilians, I will just leave on because there are not many of them to begin with. Red 4. I will just play with this later on, so I don't slow the video. Okay, so that is done, and now I will go over how I create slots individually. So, of course, I did the rifleman, but that's not a player slot per se. That's most likely Zeus custom slot. So, what I do now is I take out my sheet for the operation. Okay, so of course I have it here. I have it on my other screen. And I see the first slot is, of course, the HQ. So I go to Blue 4. I go to NATO, vanilla game, of course. And I will just select officers, like multiple officers, right here. I like to do the vanilla as well because they have this little nice marks above specific slots, like officer, squad leader, rifleman, repair specialist, medic. Like, they have the really nice icon, which can sometimes be seen. I don't know, it's just ADHD thing. Don't worry about it too much. So, now I need 3 people in this squad. So I create 3 slots. I link them to 1, who's gonna be the leader of the squad. And now I need to, of course, make them playable. The name of the slot, individual slot, hash, and HQ command. That's done. Then I go to states, and I will give them the rank. This guy is a captain. You don't need to do anything here per se. You need to go to, just give me a split second. Unit traits. It should not have effect, but just in case you know, it's Arma. So double check, triple check everything. Now I will do his frequency for small range, squad range, and long range is 50. So does he have any other perks? No, he doesn't. So I will just click on OK. By the way, the preference which you have open to the windows right now will save. So if you open this guy, you have it again. So this is captain, and then you also go to edit loadout, ace arsenal, and you just give him a specific, you know, specific loadout you would like him to have. So yeah, these guys will have a radio, long range. So I need to figure out which kind of long range he will essentially have. But that's for future Martin, not the present Martin. I like to go from top to bottom and also make sure that my uniform and other assets right here are empty. And I will show you why. So rifle, I have Brazilian M16. They will not have any attachments, only, oh, not even suppressors. Oh man, they're gonna be blind. Anyhow, I like to change the ammunition to air highest ammunition. It's up to you if you like M8855 or A1. There are of course different ballistics slightly, but I just do the classic Stan MX. Just a simple ball with some penetration. Berettas with full metal jackets, of course. Launchers, no launchers. Headgear, you select specific helmet you wish. Uniform, self-explanatory. Vest, backpack. Backpacks can be radios sometimes, or they can be static weapons. Facewear, NVGs, no need for NVGs, or you can give it to them. It's up to you if you want to go into the night or it would be in a specific time period. Binos, no binos. Vectors, no vectors. Since this guy is gonna be the commander, I think I am gonna give him a vector. One of the old ones. I missed one of the old single site vectors. I think they removed them. They removed them. I will just let them have this one. Map, GPS. I don't think I will give them GPS. Might give them micro daggers instead. Yeah, old shitty radio. And now we go. So we know ammunition which we have. So we go to uniform. And I like to start by medical and extra things. They don't need earplugs because A's hearing is off, but they need cable ties. What else do they need? They need... Right, this guy won't... He doesn't need anything from here anymore. Okay. Medical. I like to just give them basic kit of 8 and 5. 1 blood bag. 4 epi. 1 combat pills. 4 morphines. Oh, give him 5 instead. You won't use most. You won't use more than that, essentially. You might use more, of course, but that's why you have medic in your squad. And we need to save space, and the players will still have option to loot on their own anyhow from boxes or arsenal. But another important thing is for this guy to have map tools, micro dagger, mag light. And I would like to stuff the entrenching tool there as well, but I guess he's fat. He's fat already. Let's put a smoke here. Vests are mostly for ammunition and grenades, so let's do. I think this one is 2 frags. Which one is ace? This one is ace. Ace stun grenades. Actually, let me give him 3. Even though he shouldn't see action, just to make sure though. And then shit ton of ammo. As much as I can. Actually, he needs pistol as well. Full metal jacket. As much ammo. And backpack, I just leave empty for them. Unless it's medic, then I do them backpack as well. So, this is a basic kit for rifleman. Or squad leader actually, because he has a micro dagger, which is a tool for tracking yourself on the map and so on. It's like GPS basically. And I will actually take it away because I want to save this. Micro dagger, save, loadouts, rifleman, save, boop, apply. So 1 slot is done, and when you create the others, similar thing. Name, but this time you don't need to create you don't need to create add, because only add is at the squad lead. Nobody else needs it. So yeah, I will do those slots later. But now, if I start a game, I will see the slots as so. Okay. So I think that's pretty much it. Really. Slots. You just create all the slots. You give them assets, of course. In my scenario, it's gonna be. By the way, if your things bugs out right here, just type something in and then delete it. It will refresh the whole thing. It's buggy sometimes. I need to go to Brazilian Air Force helicopters. I need H-50 transport. Oh yeah, and in the bottom you can place vehicles without crew, by the way. It's a little button here in the bottom, bottom right. I need this one. And I need the heavy one. And of course I will give them cars later on as well. So you just create like a spawn point for them, staging area. Then another thing which I would suggest is apart from some small things, so it looks pretty, you should have a box, any lootable box. I like to use this NATO box supply right here, this one. And because most people already have it imprinted in memory that this is gonna be arsenal. And you're gonna empty the storage. You go to special states, make sure it's indestructible. Simulation should be on, model on. And in the Ace Arsenal right here, you will select which things. You can also import, export which guns you would like to have in that arsenal. So for example, I want in this arsenal to have, I'll just search like this, it's gonna be faster, M16s. And I want only the old ones actually, not the new ones. So yeah, and then just OK. And this is now from now on arsenal. But you can you should also put in like, you know, all the other stuff which you want the players to have access with. I don't think I need to explain what arsenal is. And from now on, you just create objectives and obstacles to players. Remember, if possible, these guys should have dynamic simulation. Actually, the ones which are objectives, I would actually leave it off, just in case, because the game is funny. So these guys should have it off, but if you place, let's say, an actual hostile force in here, and you put them in like actual buildings and so on to hold, and wait for the players to come around, and you make like an ambush, they should all be in same group, if possible. And another thing is, which is pretty good, I would say, apart from dynamic simulation, is to have them without any padding. Padding, what is padding? It's basically something which allows the AI to walk around. That's the simplest explanation that I can think of. You can disable it manually through specific thing here, but I just like to do it the old school way in the init. This disable AI pad, and you just put it in all of them, and that's pretty much it. From then on, you can just, you know, copy paste and just create multiple objectives where they will get ambushed. One other way of doing this in a quite effective way is through a trigger and show and hide. So let's say there's going to be ambush here, right? Against the players, and I will put them all in a single squad. I will give them a waypoint, and the waypoint is going to be destroy. Yep, seek and destroy right here. Seek and destroy, full, and combat behavior, combat. So, what are we gonna do with these guys now? So, I'm gonna select all of them, of course, in special states. Show model off, enable simulation off, wake up dynamic simulation off. All of these units are gonna have all the first three things off. But you might be asking me, well, how are they gonna ambush them then? when they are not in the game logic or simulator or anything. Basically, they don't exist on the map. You're gonna create a trigger, which is with a small operation zone, let's say here, and it's gonna have server only, of course, blue for present. Okay, and then you will go to show module, put it somewhere, and you do show units and synchronized layer. Oh yeah, synchronized objects only. So this trigger is gonna trigger show and hide, and the show and hide is gonna trigger all of these guys. Of course, there is a quicker way of making it, but I'm just doing it the slow way for the sake of, you know, getting the point across. What happens now is when the players move in that specific place, it will wake them up from basically nothingness. They are not even existing on the Zamora plane. It will summon them like demons, and they will start attacking the players. I will simulate shortly. Also, I apologize for my voice because I'm slowly losing it, but I feel like this video has been long overdue. So I feel like I should have made it a long time ago, since I've been making these ops for actively year now, so with small breaks here and there, and it's probably only justice to show you guys how I make them. So right now they are not even here. I can see them in Zeus, but the players will not interact with them or do anything with them. But if I teleport myself in here and I walk into the place, boop, they are here and they rush me. And now, oh, did they not hit me? Oh, they hit me into the vest. Yeah, these vanilla vests are busted. So right now I'm in pain, of course, and blah blah blah, morphine and so on. So I think that's for the most part it. I will just quickly go over things if I have missed anything, but let me just see. What else might have missed? What else might have I missed? We went over simulation, we went over creation of the objects, arsenal, areas, respawned. I think that's pretty much it. There are some custom scripts and so on. So if you wish to tell me if you, oh my god, if you wish, you would if you want me to describe more scripts and any other things which you would like to see, feel free to leave a comment or anything else. Feel free to even DM me on Discord if there's a specific script you would like to see, because when I look into my scripts, yeah, I do have quite a few, so there might be some hidden gems which you might not heard of, or you would like to see, or you don't know how to set them up. So there should not be problem at all, and I'm glad of help if I have been of any help. See you guys.